Giannis stuffs LeBron for a late win. The Thunder pull off another comeback in Memphis. And hey, some good news for New Orleans, a rookie triple-double. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Let's go.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
Welcome to another edition of Locked On NBA Game Night. Every game, every night. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and now the #1 sports podcast network. On this Saturday show, I'm Jake Madison, your co-host, host of the Locked On Pelicans podcast. He's Swipa, host of Locked On Nuggets. We had 10 games, and honestly, man, it was a pretty fun night in the association.
Yep. Fun night, good basketball, some really, really good comebacks, and some comebacks that fell short, but this was actually a really fun event. A lot of teams that are trying to just, I think, make it through the grind of early January right now because of where the schedule is. A lot of back-to-backs and crazy road trips going on, but we got treated to some truly special fourth quarter basketball today.
We did. We also had one of the strangest injuries I think we could ever probably talk about here on the show. We'll get to that in a moment here. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Before tip-off, check out the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And, of course, thank you for making Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. We are here 7 days a week covering literally every game played in the association this season. So let's get started here with the Milwaukee Bucks beating the Los Angeles Lakers 105-101. Let's go over to the Locked On Lakers show.
Kim Minetsky, co-host of the Locked On Lakers podcast, and the Lakers lose 105-101 to the Bucks in LA, their first clutch time loss of the season. A reminder that they can only push their luck for so long without consistently executing. Luka Doncic, I'm assuming one of the worst games of his career, definitely one of his worst as a Laker. 25 points on 8 of 25 shooting, 50% from the line. Terrible 5th and 6th fouls. This was a DQ. Very costly, bad decisions for Luka. He looked very frustrated throughout this game. LeBron James, who played very well, 26 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists, was nonetheless stripped and blocked on separate possessions by Giannis Antetokounmpo in the final 39 seconds as the Lakers tried to push ahead. For more Lakers coverage, make sure you're watching Locked On Lakers on YouTube and listening wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, the Lakers weren't clutch, but Giannis sure as heck was in this game, as he had mentioned, the block and then poking the ball loose basically to end it for him. Good win for the Bucks here.
Yeah, it was. It looked like it was going to be a little dicey today early on because the way that the Lakers were guarding the Milwaukee Bucks, they were not allowing for Giannis to touch the ball, but also they were fronting him very well. And shout out to Jackson Hayes. Giannis got a nice drive, and he tried to do like a little bit of a big man hook through the paint to finish with the layup, but Jackson played good defense. Giannis missed the shot, and they held him to a very low stat line today, like 21, 5, 6. It wasn't anything crazy. But Giannis, I think what he did do is he allowed for his defense to do the talking for him today with those 2 plays that he made. He only got 11 shots up. And I think they're lucky to escape with the win because obviously, we'll talk about Luka here in a minute. But I was especially down the stretch like, hey, KPJ, Ryan Rollins, you could do a better job getting the best player the ball. And honestly, Doc Rivers, one of the biggest criticisms I have for him, Jake, is that I watched Doc Rivers in multiple playoff series where Joel Embiid would get phased out of fourth-quarter games because he just doesn't do enough, I think, to get his big involved. And I think today Giannis was showing very similar signs of, he's getting fronted, he's getting doubled, but like, okay, well, how do we get him out of this? Like, what do we do to make sure he can get the ball and manufacture some possessions for him? And they didn't, but they were able to make enough shots. And that last foul, I'll be curious to hear what you have to say. KPJ headsy tween, does a step back. Luka on film, it looks like jumps about 4 feet and he lands 4 feet from where he is and comes down within KPJ's shooting area, and it's a foul call. And I know a lot of Lakers fans did not love that call to end the game.
It's tough to tell. Like the angles I saw of it, and I was watching that live, like the replays they showed you couldn't really see conclusively. Like maybe there was some slight hip touching action or something along those lines. It didn't seem like the best call, especially for him to foul out on. But also when you're going to get that kind of defensive play from Giannis, I don't know, don't turn the ball over, don't get blocked, and you could have won this game regardless of it, right? The Lakers still had chances, and look, the Bucks made the plays at the end, the Lakers didn't. The Bucks were up 12 in this one, and all of a sudden the Lakers midway through the fourth quarter are winning because they were doing the right things and they couldn't just do it for the whole fourth quarter. And I think it speaks to something Andy had said there, which was, when you look at those kind of clutch wins over the season, it's kind of fluky at times, particularly when you haven't lost a clutch game yet. And that's not the way you want to win your games, because your luck's going to run out eventually, or it's just not going to go your way. And it means you're playing tight, close games, which means you could lose, but blow that teams out. This seemed just like it wasn't going to go the Lakers' way with kind of all of those factors and everything. But also Luka was just, look, it's not even the sixth foul. The fifth one was terrible. And then if you don't do that, you don't put yourself in position for that sixth one.
Yeah, I am kind of it's not a concern point, Jake, but I'm looking at Luka's numbers now because I've been curious, because this is not just the last couple of weeks. So I'm looking at his numbers in the last 20 games he's played in. He's averaging 33, 8.6 assists, 7.6 rebounds. I think on his face, that sounds good, but I just looked into it, the numbers a little bit deeper. He's shooting 44% from two-pointer, 32.8% from three, and 79 from the line in that stretch. And during this stretch of basketball as well, he's also turning the ball over like kind of a lot. And because he has 97 turnovers, which is 4.9 turnovers a game over the last 20
that's games. A high number.
So it's just like, it's not super efficient. It's a lot of threes, and he's not making the threes. And the defense has just been a little bit, it's just been not great, man. So I don't really know what's going on with Luka. It could be that physically he's just not where he needs to be right now. But LeBron, I thought he was about to take over the show.
He looked incredible. Incredible. Just reminds you of how special he is. Like as you said, it looked like he was going to take over. It's a shame that Giannis blocks him. Giannis pokes the ball loose, and that's going to kind of be the story, because he looked outstanding in this one. Yeah, no, I legit thought he was going to win the game for him. He had a three at the left wing that could have really put the game away for them. That whole arena would have gone nuts if that was the case. That was when they were coming ready back for it to happen too. Yeah, it just seemed like it didn't go their way. The Lakers lose here. Let's go to the East Coast. Let's go to their rival, the Boston Celtics. Let's go over. They won 125-117. Let's go over to Locked On Celtics.
Boston Celtics put up 125 points to beat the Toronto Raptors, and they did it by only taking 28 three-pointers, the season low by 5. I'm John Corrales from the Locked On Celtics podcast. A lot of two-pointers, and it's because Peyton Pritchard loves those shots about 10 feet out in the paint, non-restricted area. He put up 27 points. Jaylen Brown, game after blasting the officials, took 13 free throws, and he put up 25 despite not a great shooting night. Anthony Simons, great off the bench again. Celtics take care of business, do what they have to do. Not a particularly exciting game, but they did what they had to do. The two-pointers were falling. The Celtics kind of remaking what their offense is. Much more coming up on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
So not a whole lot of people playing for the Toronto Raptors in this one. No Scotty Barnes in this one. No Brandon Ingram. The big story for them, though, might be RJ Barrett leaving the game with an ankle injury that looked to be in a lot of pain. What do you think? Yeah, it's just you're just hoping for no more injuries, man. I'm just kind of over it. Like I just, just so many players are getting banged up in so many random ways this year. And obviously with the Raptors, man, they're playing so well right now. Yeah. But then just to be put in this situation where they're now getting dealt blows like this to their starting lineup, I just don't want to see it at all. Yeah, let's stay in the Eastern Conference here with the Philadelphia 76ers. Another injury in this game that we'll mention here. 103-91 win over the Orlando Magic. Let's go over to Locked On Sixers.
On this night, the 76ers are thankful to have Paul George. Yes, Tyrese Maxey had a game-high 29 points. Joel Embiid had 22 points. But Paul George scored 10 of his 18 points in the fourth quarter, enabling the Sixers to win 103-91. Now, 8 of those points came in the beginning of the quarter when Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey were both on the bench. The Sixers needed someone to step up, and PG did that. And the crazy thing is once he came out, he subbed out, they subbed in. The duo combined to score 7 points. PG came back in, and then he gets his 10th point of the quarter. But this is how they won. I mean, this is the second consecutive game that PG took over a quarter. But this one, the 76ers really needed this, and this could aid them moving forward, having somebody who's able to step up when both of those guys are out the game. Peace.
Let's hear what the Magic have to say.
This is Philip Rossman-Wright, the host of Locked On Magic here at the Kia Center. The Orlando Magic fall the Philadelphia 76ers 103-91 in a game that was ugly for both teams. Neither team could hit a shot. But at the end of the day, this game came down to the stars. When everything's going wrong, when everyone is struggling, who is going to step up to the plate? Who is going to make the big shot that wins the game? And in this game, it was the Sixers and their stars. Paul George took over in the beginning of the fourth quarter to expand the lead out to double digits. Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey hit big shots down the stretch. Paolo Banchero, 6 for 18, could never find himself. Desmond Bane had 23 points. Anthony Black had a good game, but the Magic were never really into this offensively. Couldn't hit shots, couldn't really move the ball, couldn't really get into their offense, played with zero pace, zero tempo. And that's how you end up losing another game like this. It felt like another one of those lifeless efforts that we've seen from the Magic. And right now they're just trading wins and losses. This was a loss. They've alternated wins and losses over their last 15 games to be 7-8. You've got a chance again to pick up a win against New Orleans. They're not losing ground to anything, but now you've lost the season series to the Sixers. Now you fall in a game and a half back of the Sixers for 5th in the East. And now you got some ground to make up and hopefully some health very, very soon.
So we had an interesting injury in this game too, with referee Bill Kennedy being not carted off, I guess wheelchaired off. Maybe refs need some load management to help with the injuries too. But I've come around on him. I used to hate him, and then I've kind of enjoyed his calls and the way he does the challenges. So like wishing him a speedy recovery.
Yeah, I've always liked Bill Kennedy. I remember. He's always been like a very vibrant, fun-loving personality. He's just a different energy than a lot of the officials. So obviously, I hope he comes back soon. It's rare. I don't know the last time I've seen a referee wheelchaired off of a court.
No, that was truly like a little bizarre, wasn't it, to see with everything here? Yeah. So hopefully the best for him. But, talking about the game, stars got to carry you. Banchero didn't in this one.
Yeah, man. Look, this Magic team, I have really been wanting success for this organization. Really since like Jamal Mosley been there, like I think he actually doing a really good job with them. Just a lot of like up and down situations, the rosters, the injuries, all kind of stuff. But Anthony Black, I will say, continues to take a leap forward. He had 21 points today, continues to look really good. Desmond Bane at 23 today. They're just missing their all-star caliber wing that I think would change a lot of what this team is supposed to look like.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to that, I think, more than anything. It is cool to see the Anthony Black leap. He's been playing exceptionally well recently. So coming up next, Thunder continue to roll. Another big comeback in Memphis. We're going to cover the Warriors blowing out the Kings and your Nuggets losing to the Atlanta Hawks. It's coming up here next in today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. So Fridays from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern, appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new, whether it's boosts, bonuses, or surprises. And it's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. So the timing is perfect, right before games, right before the weekend starts. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. And thank you for making a Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. We are here 7 days a week. We are literally covering every single game played around the association. So if you didn't watch, you didn't stay up late on a Friday night, we got you covered with everything here. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So I'm going to be making Locked On Grizzlies my second listen today just because of the news with Ja Morant, and then also another blown lead to the Oklahoma City Thunder, with the Thunder coming back to win 117-116. Let's go to Locked On Thunder.
Thunder get their largest comeback win of the season. They did it without their regulars. They did it with a big J-Dub fourth quarter, but Kenrich Williams, AJ Mitchell, the stars of tonight, not only hitting clutch threes, but being consistent all night in their effort. The Thunder had to do it without SGA. They had to do it without Chet Holmgren. They had to do it without Cason Wallace and so many more, but they end up getting it done. A win is a win, no matter how far you fell behind, and OKC needs to rack up these wins after what's been a messy 13-game stretch. This can provide some life to this team and some confidence to these complementary players who have not played the best entering a big week ahead, where you hope to have these regulars back in your lineup to face off with Miami, San Antonio, Houston, and on down the line. So the Thunder get an important win. The Thunder stave off Memphis, and for the second time this year, have a 19-plus point comeback in Memphis.
Let's go over to Locked On Grizzlies for what's been a bad day in Memphis, I think.
The Memphis Grizzlies had a 21-point lead over the Oklahoma City Thunder on Friday night, and they squandered it. It was a perfect end to a very bad, no good, unhappy day for the Memphis Grizzlies as they lose 117-116 to OKC. I'm Joe Mullinax of Locked On Grizzlies, and whoo boy, not the best day for Memphis. Ja Morant trade rumors and conversation heats up. A really strong start with an impressive offensive performance from Jaren Jackson Jr., a really well-oiled machine in terms of assists. It all seemed to be going swimmingly for the Grizzlies until it wasn't. And now we're talking about a Memphis team that continues to lose and continues to battle injuries. And now there's all this Ja Morant distraction surrounding the franchise. It could have ended as a silver lining in a dark cloud, but now it just gets darker and darker for the Grizzlies in Memphis.
Yeah, bad day in Memphis. Look, the Thunder are just not fair, and these guys getting that kind of experience is just, I think, wonderful for them. You know, J-Dub's good, 26 points from him, but a Jay Mitchell with 23 points. Kenrich Williams just coming off the bench tonight, not playing tons of minutes, drops 21 in this one. They're unfair, but let's look at Memphis for a second. You know, we saw the report from Shams about Ja Morant, them hearing offers. Just seems like this was always how it was going to end.
Yeah, I remember talking to Memphis Grizzlies fans a couple years ago, right after everything had kind of, hit the ceiling, if for that expression. And it was when he had come back and then the injuries and everything. And I remember asking fans then, like, hey, would you be willing to get off of Ja Morant at this point? And a lot of people were just like, no, he's the franchise. He's the identity. And if you just think about where the sport was supposed to be, I saw some people that mentioned this today on Twitter, but, Zion Williamson and Ja Morant are supposed to be the face of American basketball. And, everything kind of happened and played out the way that it did. And unfortunately it happened, but I hope Ja, the next situation he gets into, it just has a resurgence where he can go out and just focus on basketball and he's healthy. And then that way he can show the best of his skills again. And so I hope that happens soon for him as well.
Look, he's played fewer games than Zion Williamson has over the past 3 years, I think is what it is. And it's just, you can't build a team around those guys. Look, I cover one of them, right? I've been banging the trade Zion drum for a while now, so I get it. It's just rough day in Memphis with the losses piling up with that trade news coming over, but it just feels like everyone here needs kind of a fresh start from that situation. A team that definitely needs a fresh start is the Sacramento Kings, losing 137-103 to the Golden State Warriors here. This game was kind of close, tied in the third quarter, and then all of a sudden it wasn't.
Yeah, but shout out to Steph, man. Like 27 points and 10 assists today. He just continues to have an all-NBA caliber season this year. Jimmy and them just kind of locked in defensively in the third quarter and just kind of shifted the overall tone of the game. And one thing about the Warriors, man, like if they get you in a place where they're feeling confident and they start rolling and they start hitting shots and their defense locks in, it really changes up just how good they are. And then in the second half of this game, DeAnthony Melton had 15 points.
Yeah.
He was 3 of 3 from three. Podzimski had 12 points in the second half.
He was dunking everywhere too.
He was. And so Steph kind of was able to take a little bit of a back seat and just kind of be the initiator off ball and everything else. And then they just got the rolling and they scored 74 34 points in the second half, blowing the doors off of the Kings.
Yeah, it was close for a little while, and then a 40-19 fourth quarter will do that for a team here. And the Sacramento Kings continue to just be a mess is probably the easiest way to put it here. Let's go to your team. Denver Nuggets losing to the Atlanta Hawks 187. Let's go over to Locked On Hawks first.
Hello, friends. My name is Brad Rowland, the host of the Locked On Hawks podcast, and the Hawks went to Denver and won for the first time since 2019. Now, obviously, they only play there once a year, but still, the Hawks did a very good job, especially in the fourth quarter. They went into the fourth quarter down in this game and won by 23 points, had a 23-3 run in the second half to kind of break things open. Dyson Daniels was the hero for the Hawks in this game. His first career triple-double. He was everywhere, 17, 11, and 10 plus 4 steals and just great defense. Jalen Johnson continues his all-NBA kind of pace, 29 points in the game. And Atlanta's defense was tremendous. Only allowed 87 points, a season low for the Hawks in a good way. And that was accompanied by 19 turnovers and 14 steals. Atlanta won the turnover battle by 13, and generally that is a good recipe for success. From here, they have to go to Golden State, but obviously the best way to start a road trip like this, 4 games on the road, is to win, and doing so in Denver in a house of horrors for opponents is very impressive. We'll get into all of what transpired and more on Locked On Hawks.
All right, Swipa, what happened to the Nuggets in this one? This one just as simple as they're injured?
No, so they, Jamal Murray didn't play. Jokic, obviously, Cam Johnson were there, so obviously they're missing, their 2 best players. But David Adamman talked about this. They just got back from a 7-game road trip where they traveled over 3,400 miles, I believe. I think that in the fourth quarter, they were up 75-74, but Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown came in the game. They literally just got back from injuries, and they are very clearly not 100%. The doors fell off. I'm talking about immediately the start of the fourth quarter, a 13-3 run for the Hawks. The Hawks, just for context, outscored Denver 36-12 in the fourth quarter. 36-12. Denver had no sauce, no juice, obviously no playmaker at the guard position with Jamal Murray not playing. And they also have an illness sweeping through the locker room apparently as well. So they got injuries, they got illnesses, and coming off of a 7-game road trip, it just felt like a bleh today.
You have those scheduled losses on the calendar, right? Like sometimes you just look at it and you're like, it's just not going to happen tonight. And when you talk about all those different factors right there, it just really feels like that. Also, you just get nothing from Christian Brown in this game at all, really. He struggled.
I don't know. See, I try not to be hard on him because, but he's obviously playing basketball.
Yeah.
He's clearly not healthy, but 0 points in 25 minutes is tough. And then you're watching Peyton Watson, his 6th straight 20-point game. So, but shout out to Jalen Johnson, by the way. I think he's having a very good year. He had a really good fourth quarter. Dyson Daniels looked good today. So they're balling, man. They're just continuing to figure out who they are and what they're supposed to do as a roster. By the way, Asa Newell off the bench was good. He only had 9 points, but he actually made some really positive plays while the game was still close.
His plus minus was 20 in this game in like 11 minutes of action. It's hyper athletic big like that. That was a good win for the Atlanta Hawks as they've now entered a new era after the Trae Young trade. So coming up next, Derek Queen, triple-double. That's kind of cool. The Knicks lose a close game. We've got an upset against Houston and the Clippers beating the Nets. It's coming up here next in today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by BetterHelp. As we roll into the new year, a lot of pressure is on to chase a new you. But sometimes it isn't about reinventing yourself. It's just about feeling a little less weighed down. And therapy can help you understand what's been holding you back by giving you an outside perspective on your emotions, your motivations, and your relationships. And that's why BetterHelp can be such a helpful place to start. Look, I love therapy. It's just helped me be the best version of me, just remove discomfort in my life in a variety of various ways. And having that person to talk to figure all of that out just is truthfully, personally made my life better. So with BetterHelp, their therapists are fully licensed in the US and they work under a strict code of conduct, and they're going to help match you with a therapist based on your needs and preferences so you're not doing all that legwork on your own. And if the match isn't the right fit, you can switch to another therapist from their tailored recommendations at any time. BetterHelp has served over 5 million people with more than 30,000 therapists, and sessions average 4.5 out of 5-star ratings across more than 1.7 million client reviews. BetterHelp makes it easy to get matched online with a qualified therapist. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA. That's betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get started. And thank you for making a Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. We are here 7 days a week covering every single game across the association. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now, the #1 sports podcast network. Like I said, my second listen today is going to be Locked On Grizzlies after all the stuff with John Morant. All right, let's cover the final 4 games here on Friday night. And let's start with my team, the New Orleans Pelicans, getting off of a 9-game losing streak with a 128-107 win over the Washington Wizards. Big story in this one, other than like everyone looking good for New Orleans, I guess playing the Wizards will do that for you, was Derek Queen with a triple-double, 14 points, 16 rebounds, 12 assists. A lot's been made about that trade with the Atlanta Hawks, but at least he looks good, in my opinion. You also had a good game from Trey Murphy, 35 points, Zion Williamson, and this one, and even other rookie, Jeremiah Fears, with 21 points. I just needed a good night here in New Orleans with all of this.
Oh, look, I'm very happy for you. You took a chance on 2 different rookies, and so far, it's panning out for both of them.
Yeah, both of them look good and look like they can be the future, and it maybe will make the sting of whatever high draft pick they give Atlanta not feel as bad in the future here. All right, the Phoenix Suns beat the New York Knicks 112-107. This one was back and forth towards the end here. Let's go over to Locked On Knicks for their take.
The New York Knicks just too sloppy to beat the Phoenix Suns on the road. A couple days after ending a 4-game losing streak against the Clippers, a lot of the same issues crop up in this one for the New York Knicks. Jalen Brunson, 2 turnovers inside the final 100 seconds. Didn't feel like the Knicks figured out the right way to play against the Phoenix Suns until the fourth quarter. That was the first time Mike Brown really committed to the Mitchell Robinson, Karl Anthony Towns lineup that just blistered the Suns on the offensive glass. Felt like the Knicks really missed Josh Hart. They could have gone overboard on the physicality, taken advantage of a smaller Suns team. Instead, Phoenix did what they've done all season against great opponents, just shredded them with great shooting, great passing. The Knicks at times played connected defense, but anytime they made a mistake, it felt like the Suns burned them for it. Deuce McBride, another really nice game shooting the ball. Mitchell Robinson, some flashes of athleticism off the bench, just not enough for the Knicks.
Devin Booker was tremendous down the stretch with some of his shot making here. I think the Suns were a little lucky to get out of this game with some of the sloppiness from Jalen Brunson, some of the shot making from Devin Booker. Like, their offense in the second half of the fourth quarter was pretty awful, in my opinion. They were really not moving the ball, and if one of those shots misses, I wonder how this game could change. But at the end of the day, they get the win.
Yeah, and the Suns, they just continue to put together a nice win profile, and they look good versus good teams. And I just like the fact that they're playing like as confident as they are. And I think half of winning games in the NBA, especially when you're at a talent disadvantage, because they still don't have Jalen Green, like consistently, by the way. Like, they're still missing one of their best players. And the fact that you're getting these kind of performances, and Devin Booker, I think, is just getting even better. Dillon Brooks is having a phenomenal season. And then down the stretch of this game, man, it's like you got to have shot makers. You got to have players that do multiple things. And Devin, obviously, with the over-the-top stuff was working out really well. But Dillon Brooks being able to be an off-the-dribble, bounce, beat you to the basket type player now, it just changes, like, just how you have to guard the team. So, really, man, shout out to Jordan Knott. Shout out to Dillon Brooks, because they have been able to really, I think, elevate the stuff that's happening around D-Book that I think will make him even more viable as the year goes on. But that Phoenix Suns team is very sleepily a very good basketball team.
Yeah, it just feels like they've got something there. Dillon Brooks, by the way, 27 points on the night in this one. You also had that great play from Grayson Allen to save a ball and throw it off of, I think it was Anunoby late in that one, to get the Suns the ball back and gain them a possession in a close game. When you have guys kind of giving that kind of effort, there's a good basketball team in them, I think, and they're playing great right now. Stay in the Western Conference here, and that's the Portland Trail Blazers upsetting the Houston Rockets 111-105 here. This is the Blazers' 5th straight win. I'm curious, Swipa, what you think about them, because I don't know if they're a good team or not, and I really can't figure the Blazers out.
So coming into the year, I thought they would be a play-in team, and I think that's about where they're going to be. They're currently sitting at 19-20, which puts them in the 9th spot. So I do think they're going to make the playoffs this year. In terms of like the play-in playoffs, they have a very good infrastructure, especially defensively. When Donovan Clingan and Drew Holiday are playing, it's just getting them all on the court together.
Yeah.
But really, the next step is that Denny Avdia. He's figured out NBA basketball. He's a very good player, but he's also figured out there are ways that I can make myself even more valuable by generating as many free throws on my drive as possible. And he's playing the math game, and it's working out for him.
He looks like a top 25 guy right now in the NBA. I think they have some big wins too. They've beaten the Thunder, they've beaten the Nuggets, they've beaten Boston. They have a number of really good wins out there in this one, and they had just a well-rounded game from everyone. Avia with 20 points, Shaedon Sharpe with 20, Kamara with 25. Like, it was just a good, solid performance from them on a night when Kevin Durant scores 30. You get 20 from Reed Shepherd off the bench. Amen Thompson, 24 points. Just a good win, even though the Houston Rockets didn't have some great offense or organization down the stretch of this.
Agree.
One. And then final game of the night we're going to talk about here. That's the Los Angeles Clippers beating the Brooklyn Nets 121-105. James Harden, 31 points over his former team here. Kawhi Leonard playing really good basketball too, 26 points. Yeah, Clippers look like they're going to, in a day or two, pass the Memphis Grizzlies for that final play-in spot right now.
Dude, like... Thank goodness. And I mean this both as an agenda, but also as thank goodness for the NBA. I was hoping that the Clippers were going to end up being a really good team. I had them before the year started. I thought they were going to be one of the 5 best teams, not just maybe in the West, but possibly in the NBA.
Okay.
So imagine my horror when they start off this year.
They had about as bad a start as you could have then, if
So
that's what you were hoping
terribly.
for.
And they have just been able to put together, just a little bit of magic, as of late. And I think it's just great watching Kawhi Leonard hoop. James Harden obviously had a great year. By the way, James Harden never missed the playoffs in his career. And I was like, man, is this going to be the season? But don't look now. They're 8-2 in their last 10.
Yeah.
They're cooking.
No, they look really good. You had Kawhi Leonard playing otherworldly basketball, and he's not at that level in tonight's game, but they just look very, very good overall. All of a sudden, they get a little bit healthy. Things are starting to come together for them, and there you go. They're on that 8-2 streak, as you had mentioned, in their last 10, and they're climbing up the standings in the Western Conference. So there you go, 10 games. We covered them all here on Locked On NBA Game Night on Saturday. I'm your co-host, Jake Madison, at Nola Jake on Twitter, the host of the Locked On Pelicans podcast. He's Swipa, at Swipa Cam, host of Locked On Nuggets. We appreciate y'all so much for listening. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Join us on YouTube. Comment on YouTube as well, and we'll see y'all next time.